Oh magic conch shell. We have 5 years to conclude this story. What should we do?
Nothing.
The shell has spoken!
Nothing. We can't just sit here and do nothing.
Hello everyone, welcome to my review for Horimiya. This is a romantic comedy manga that was serialized in Monthly G from 2011 to 2021. It is a remake of a webcomic of the same name by the writer Hiro. Hiro wrote this remake as well, however this time art was provided by Daisuke Hagiwara. This series ran for 10 years. That's pretty wild. And this one is a bit of a big deal. I first heard about this series years ago, people going on about how crazy good it was, but at the time I was never really interested in this type of series, but you know, now that I kind of am, and after hearing the news that it was just about to end, I decided to check it out, so let's go. Horimiya takes place in Japan and follows Hori, a high school girl, and Miyamura, a high school boy. Both characters are in the same class and they are aware that each other exists, but they don't really pay attention to each other because they're so different. Hori being a super popular, energetic girl who's very smart, she's at the top of her class, and Miyamura being, you know, a loser. However, one fateful day, they meet each other outside of the classroom and discover that there is a lot more to each other than they initially thought. When Hori is not in school, she has a very different persona as kind of a motherly figure towards her younger brother. Her parents are rarely home because of their busy jobs, so she is often left to take care of her younger brother, do all the cooking, do all the cleaning. She's very busy, and for some reason she doesn't want her friends knowing that she's like this outside of school. Meanwhile, Miyamura, outside of school, I guess he's what you would call, you know, a deviant. You know, he's got the tattoos, he's got the piercings, he works at his parents' bakery. Absolutely disgusting. Anyway, they meet up with each other, they become friends. Miyamura slowly enters Hori's friend group at school. He meets a whole bunch of new friends that he never had before. Friends like Ishikawa, who kinda has a crush on Hori. Yoshikawa, who's a big idiot. You have the student council president, Sengoku, Hori's childhood friend. He's a bit of a spineless weasel. His girlfriend, Remi, who sucks. And then that one green-haired girl, she kind of has a crush on Ishikawa. Oh. But of course, you know, the main focus of the romance will of course be our titular characters. The title of this manga is a ship name, after all. So yeah, we get to follow the two of them. As their relationship grows, they become a lot closer, a whole lot closer. And take it from there, this series has a mix of it all, basically, ranging on the spectrum from slice-of-life comedy to emotional drama. The characters will get into goofy scenarios, they'll have challenges to overcome, whether that involves their school life, their friends, their romantic life. We get to see it all, and it's really, really good. Of course, the most important thing about any romance series is the central romance, and I think this series, above all else, completely nails it. The relationship that grows between Hori and Miyamura is so well done. It's so fully realized. Once sparks start flying, you're right on board because the series does a very good job of setting up this world and these characters. You grow to understand them very quickly, so when you realize just how fast-paced this manga is, it doesn't feel rushed at all. It feels like things are naturally progressing. This is what should be happening. It is awesome. Seeing them together was super fun. Seeing them overcome challenges was super satisfying. And I really, really enjoyed their journey every step of the way. However, of course, the series doesn't just focus on them, and we do have a pretty expansive cast of characters here who join them, oftentimes in, you know, these episodic slice-of-life comedy bits. It's really nothing you haven't seen before. Oh, there's a school trip, oh, exams are coming up, all this shit. But I think it's all great. I'll talk a bit more about the characters later, obviously. But these sections of the story really serve a purpose of building out the rest of the cast, and even our main characters, just showing them in social scenarios, you know, funny, stupid shit goes down. This isn't the funniest series I've read, not by a long shot, but it is very charming and very cute and very wholesome. And I did enjoy these parts of the series quite a bit. It's also worth mentioning that this is not an ecchi series in the slightest. It's all super wholesome content. So if you're not into that type of stuff, you're all good here. I do think the drama element here is quite a bit stronger than just, you know, the normal slice of life stuff. But the slice of life stuff really complements the drama bits because it helps you get to know these characters a lot more. So when, you know, the hard-hitting emotional stuff happens, whew, you really feel it. So things sound pretty peachy keen, don't they? In this review, I've laid out what the story is like, and I've given you my thoughts, which have been overwhelmingly positive. Case closed, right? Fantastic manga. Recommended to everyone. I was only talking about the first half of Horimiya. There's a whole other can of worms we have to crack open. About halfway through the series, things are going well. I'm really enjoying where the story's going. I can't wait to learn more about these characters, see what crazy developments will happen in their lives. But instead of that, they decide to give us about 50 chapters of absolutely nothing. And you're saying, hold on, how is that even possible? Good question. I have no idea, but they did it anyway. Everything, every plot point, every character arc, every conflict gets put on hold. And they stay on hold for the rest of the series. And what we get instead is an endless sea of slice of life comedy. Now, I've already said I like the slice of life comedy in the first half of this series. However, in the second half of the series, it is quite different. These chapters are episodic, super inconsequential stories here. Instead of actually exploring these characters and their lives, it's like, oh my god, Miyamura wore a sweater to school today. That's so crazy, let's have a full chapter about it. Now, stuff like this would be fine if it was, sprinkled in with everything else I loved about the series. But it's just stuff like that for dozens and dozens and dozens of chapters in a row. Are these chapters bad? Not necessarily. I mean, it's still very charming, it can be wholesome, and at times it can be funny. But it is so frustrating when they were doing so many great things with the story and characters, and then, for some insane reason, they just stop. Is it to say there's nothing in these chapters? No. I mean, there are a handful of chapters here or there that do explore the characters more, do maybe further plots a little bit, but they are so few and far between, and their impact on the series is so minuscule. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, they gotta be doing something, like they gotta do something when this series wraps up, because you can't just leave all of these plot threads dangling. And thankfully, the last 15 or so chapters do get things back on track a little bit, but when the series ended, and there was still so much that they didn't resolve, I couldn't believe it. It's not like they didn't have enough time, they had way more than enough time, but we just don't get anything. It feels so unfulfilled, such wasted potential. And it's really sad because I really do love the first half of this series. I thought it was fantastic. So much of the rest of the series just doesn't need to be there at all. If you cut out everything that leaves no impact on the story or characters, the final 50 chapters could probably be shortened to 10. Let's talk about the characters. I kind of love them all. All of these guys are great. They're just so cute. Hori and Miyamura are both fantastic protagonists. I love their dynamic and growth together so much. They're really nice people, they're super likable, but of course they are flawed. They have problems and they have insecurities, and seeing them help each other grow is just, it's so wholesome and nice. I especially love Hori's family. Miyamura, he becomes super close and he's basically over there all the time. So we get to learn more about her brother and her parents. Her dad especially is probably my favorite character in the series. I don't know what it is about dads in romantic comedy manga, but they're always the best. They're so great. All their friends at school are also great. I've hinted at, some more romantic things going on between their friends, and those, side plots to the main one are also super engaging. I particularly loved Ishikawa and Yoshikawa's character arcs. There are some other minor characters too that I haven't mentioned that also add a lot to the series, add a lot of entertaining moments. Problem though is that, as you would expect, a lot of these character arcs for the side characters never get resolved. There's 2 characters in particular who have a thing going, but nothing. How do you build up all these problems for characters and just not do anything with them? You had so much time. Anyway, the art is great. nothing bad to say here. Obviously, this isn't the type of series where I have much to say, but as far as high school romantic comedies go, I found this art to be really good. Character designs were super appealing. All the comedy bits are done really well. The color pages are great and add a lot of personality to the characters. And while the webcomic's original style isn't the worst, I can definitely see why Hero decided to team up with another artist, and paired with a monthly schedule, they made some good things together. So there you go. Those were my very conflicting thoughts on Horimiya. If it had reached its full potential, this really could have been one of my favorite manga ever, but unfortunately, they honestly seem to just throw it all away, which might sound harsh. And I know there are people who still really like the second half, and I'm really glad for you if you do. I don't want to say it was a complete waste, because there were still some chapters in there worth reading. Overall, I think we'll go 7 out of 10. I would definitely still recommend Horimiya to any fan of romance manga. I would honestly call it a must-read, if only for the first half, because it is so damn good. But if you make it past that first half and you find yourself getting bored and wondering why nothing is happening, I would not blame you at all for wanting to stop. This was a monthly series. Imagine reading this monthly. Oh my god. Anyway, if you would like to read Horimiya for yourself, it is being published in English by... Then you have the anime, which has 2 episodes left at the time of recording. And the anime is interesting. In fact, I think it's actually the better product, because they decide to tell the whole story in 13 episodes. And they do this by cutting out pretty much all of the bullshit. It's basically just every important story moment, and that's it. Now, it is unfortunate that they still cut out a lot of great stuff from the first half of the manga, but they do it in a way that you won't even notice watching the anime. It's basically just a greatest hits compilation of Horimiya, but the flow of the story is still intact, and it's fantastic. The production from Cloverworks is amazing. If you decide not to read this manga, I would still highly recommend checking out the anime, because it's wonderful. For alternate recommendations, now, my list of romance manga I've read isn't very high, so I think we're just going to stick to All Reliable here, the quintessential quintuplets. Negi's masterpiece, of course, you know, he's off saving the action genre right now, but before that he was right here with us in the romantic comedy genre. I'm also going to throw in Fruits Basket. While this series isn't entirely focused on romance, it does have a lot of emotional elements that I think fans of Horimiya would really appreciate, so definitely check that one out too. Thank you all so much for watching. You can leave your thoughts on Horimiya and this video in the comments down below, and I will see you all very soon, because we have another full series to take a look at, and it will be before Attack on Titan. I'll see you guys then.